Right. Okay. So, I wanted to do some reaction, some more reaction. Actually, so far, so far quite. I need to do my reaction duty, and I've seen some interesting things, this week. So, let's do this right now. Let me just get into it. Um. All right. Right. So. Okay. So first off, this is like a short one, but let's check out mm, where is it? Uh right. Okay. Let's check out Classic 20th anniversary edition. I think it's the same cutscene as Classic WoW, Azeroth WoW. But yeah, let me just check this out real quick. I'm quite curious. The good old Scarlet Monastery, the mines, molten core. Okay, this is a good trailer. Like it's like this 20th season of like 20th anniversary. Like this is like the 20th time like they relaunched the classic servers, but I guess it works. I guess it's successful because like 300,000 views. Like there's like some how was it called? Some homage, I guess. Like yeah, to the first to the first cutscene of WoW, where it's like um let me just get to it. Here you go. So yeah, it's like there's this one. Right. They were so ahead of their time when it comes to cutscenes. Right. What exploded my partner? And then there is this one. Uh, right? This is cool. Like this is cool. Um, let me just get to like I have like nothing much to say about it except the fact that like it's really like much more to say about it except that like it's really cool that like they keep on going with the classic, but I'm surprised that's it. I am surprised. I must not be like the only one who is surprised with the success of classic WoW. Like because like first time people lost their fucking mind, right? People became crazy, but now it keeps on being successful and with like things like OnlyFans and hardcore WoW, it's actually quite the fucking beautiful experience to have. It's just like it keeps on running and they have like so many servers and I mean damn, that's that's actually cool. So yeah. um yeah, so yeah, thank you, World of Warcraft. Subscribe to, well, I'm not subscribed to actually this stuff. Subscribe to World of Warcraft, small content creator, you know. So yeah, subscribe if you can, and leave them a like and a comment. They will read it. They will read it for sure. So yeah. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Okay. Next on.
Hey everyone, I'm
Actual content about my favorite game. Actual content about my favorite game. Before that, you know what? What will be so um so actually okay, this is actually quite a cool mm, okay, I found something interesting too. I shall react to as well. Um Yeah, so I wanted to yeah, I'll just search it. Yeah, no, I'll do it this way. Okay, I found a way I will do it. So let me just get to that. Okay. So this what's going on? What is coming in the next batch? Let's check this out.
Hey everyone, I'm Nagura, and today we're checking out what's coming in patch 11.1.5 for the War Within. This update brings a bunch of new content I'm personally excited for. Horrific Visions are making a return, a completely new arena-style PvE event, a new faction with loads of cosmetic rewards to unlock, and some really cool quality of life updates. So let's get into it. First off, Nightfall scenarios. With the release of the content update, there's a new event called Nightfall happening in Hollowfall. A new faction
Okay.
called Flames Radiance are fighting off the remaining Nerubian forces still loyal to Queen Ansarak. The Sareki are very angry
Okay.
following their queen's fall. Either way, we're jumping in to help the Fury guys fight the angry guys, and that's all you
This
really need to know. This is a public scenario, meaning you team up with other players.
And this is actually all I want to know so far. This is actually really fucking cool. So all of all, we get well, the continuation of the story of the fall of the Queen Ansarac. This is actually fucking sick. And new race linked to the Sacred Flame. And a scenario like this is actually quite fucking legit. This is actually quite fucking legit. So I'm quite let's continue. Let's
First,
see.
clear objectives and push back the enemies. You'll get renown rewards as you progress, unlocking new cosmetics, mounts, weapons,
Okay.
and buffs that help you while you're in the zone. If you're into collecting transmog
Damn.
or mounts, there's a new armor set, a tabard that changes appearance as you rank up, which is actually pretty cool, and a new color for the Delver's dirigible mount. Horrific Visions are back. If you played BFA, you probably remember Horrific Visions. Well, courtesy of the Bronze Dragonflight, they're back. You can run them solo or with a group, and they work basically the same. You revisit Nisov's corrupted versions of Stormwind and Orgrimmar, clear objectives, and try not to lose your sanity. There's a new companion NPC, the Construct of Soridormi, who can tank, heal, or DPS for you if you're solo, similar to Delphs. The reward scale based on difficulty, and the highest reward caps out at hero track gear.
Okay, so this is cool. Hero, well, this is actually quite interesting. Maybe some interesting weapons, maybe some interesting like procs, and also a comeback mechanic for like new players if you through delves. So because like delves right now, it's you can get some hero level gear only with the kingpin, like basically the scrambler. So this is actually really fucking cool. This is also like really quite exciting to fucking see. So yeah, and for returning players, well, we miss this content, new content. Well, basically, like it's not like recycled or like redone, um, recrafted. What's the word? Remade content if you didn't play the game back then. So it's basically new content. So yeah, it's quite nice.
So this could be a pretty nice alternative for players to farm gear if you enjoy doing visions. They also added 3 new Horrific Vision masks on top of the old ones, which increased difficulty. I personally really enjoyed progressing through visions in BFA. They can be a real challenge. So if that's your type of content, then you should definitely try them out. You'll earn a new currency, Displaced Corrupted Mementos, which lets you buy mounts, transmogs, toys, and helm enchants inspired by corruptions from BFA. That should be a lot of fun. So, if you missed out on some of those old rewards back in BFA, this is your chance. Horrific Visions will be going live on May 20. New event, the Starly Duos. The Starly Duos is a 6-week event starting on June.
So May 20. May 20. We are in April. April, May 20. So next month. This is actually fucking exciting. Like Undermine got released like not too long ago. Like we get like good content quite often. Like I'm really happy about that. Like and so much to do already. Like I'll go back to it. Go back to the interesting parts later. But like so far, really exciting.
June 3rd, where you enter an arena-style instance and battle 2 bosses at a time. You can choose to fight with helpers or without. There's a scoring system and you gain the score based on how well you do during the event. Rewards include cosmetics, toys, and some dungeon items inspired by the bosses you fight. It's based in Dornogal, Stormwind, and Orgrimmar, and you can just talk to the NPCs there to queue up. Definitely worth checking out if you're into unique cosmetics. Additionally, most items
Okay.
are warbound, so this might be a quick and fun way to gear up your ults as well. New UI feature,
Okay.
Cooldown Manager. This one's actually pretty cool. WoW is adding a Cooldown Manager UI with the patch's launch, which basically lets you track important class cooldowns in one spot on your screen. It's customizable through Edit mode, so you can move it, resize it, change the opacity, and more. Definitely a very cool feature for people not wanting to bother with add-ons.
Actually, yes, this is actually so I don't know if my first stream was like that, but basically like when I started like playing my Death Knight, I actually got to took like what a few hours to get the add-ons right and functioning. So yeah, this is actually for like new players, especially since new players are coming. This is actually quite fucking good to hear because like well, add-ons are complicated. Like, technically, like, well, game designers they know that, like, especially like game designers in games like this, that like add-ons, like, this is such an outdated concept because basically, like, it's a third-party software that you add to your game that is in the gray in the gray zone in the game because technically it is cheating, but it's not cheating because like it changes like the interface in certain ways that like you should not be able to. Like add-ons like could be basically supported like in many games, but like let's say in Valorant or something, an add-on will be considered as cheating. Any add-on, any add-on would be considered as cheating, right? Valorant, League of Legends, throw it out, like but yeah, this is an outdated concept, and like most players, it kind of fucking bother. But like you get used to that. Like you get like curse force that makes it really easy. But also, yeah, a really old concept. So this is good for like players.
Other update and quality of life changes include guild renaming. You can now rename your guild at any Guildmaster NPC for gold, of course.
Okay, so this is interesting because this is actually revolutionary for from like a really like a veteran like old like a vanilla classic WoW like original player, original WoW player because like renaming your guild you cannot. Pretty sure that like some people just disbanded their guild just because of their name like were like not fitting anymore, or is it like like for like stupid reasons. But like this is like such a quality of life improvement that actually like I one of my when I have a guild in WoW, and I actually talked about when creating it, I actually talked about the fact that they never updated the tabards. So basically you can buy tabards, right? Like many beautiful tabards over like in the game, but you cannot like is it did not updated the tabards in the guild. So basically like your tabard looks like garbage. It looks awful. And so me noticing that while creating my guild and seeing that like next updates actually like think about the guilds, I'm actually really surprised because like this is like after seeing that and renaming a guild, yeah, this is the first time in history that you can actually do that. Seems like a small thing. It is a small thing, but like to some players, like it's actually like, well, it is good. Maybe they will think about the tabards next time because like if well check my clip about like my about the tabards. This is like the tabards about the tabards are so not are so old and so uninspired and so like just like strange like to be fair like basically like random like spider like piles of coins, for example, tabard, the tabard piles of coin representing your guild. Anyway, so this is quality of life like not really needed, but like surprisingly like really late like and it is a first in history that like you can actually do that.
Trading Post shopping cart. You can now add multiple items to your cart before buying them. Colorblind customization. You can now adjust item rarity
This is
colors for
good.
better visibility. Finally, there's a catch-up event from April 22nd to May 20th called the Winds of Mysterious Fortune, which includes an experience buff as well as Dragonflight and the War Within major faction renown buffs. This will be a great time to jump back in or level up your alts. And that's pretty much everything major coming in patch 11.1.5. Some fun new events, a few quality of life changes, and the return of horrific visions. Let me know in the comments what you're most excited for, or what you think they should have added. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, so I'm actually curious about, so there's a new
Horrific
race.
Visions are making a return for the War Within, and some really Nightfall
So
scenarios. With the release of the content update, there's a new event called Nightfall happening in Hollowfall. A new faction called Flames Radiance
oh
are
no,
fighting.
it's a new faction. I was like maybe like Lightforged Rhinites, you know, like so it's a new faction. Okay. The visions, this is cool because I actually missed that thing. Like the sets, like this is actually looking quite beautiful and quite
There's a
cool.
new armor set.
So this will be exciting to actually discover. The visions, I'm actually curious how they will, if there will be like a lower justification for the the back the fact that they bring back the visions. So yeah, other than that, well, first and like the other things I don't really know, like, but more things to do, like more things to collect. So new content is always like welcomed anyway. So and then like really for really like kind of odd one, strange first in history, like you can rename your guild. This will concern like 5 people. There will be like 5 people that will be that probably will not see this change, because like there's probably 5 people, well, but no, yeah, will discover this change and actually change their guild name, because like well, guild masters, there aren't like many basically. Like, well, it is logical, right? But yeah, actually quite surprised about like these changes. Quite surprised, quite happy about. So Nightfall scenario, this is actually really cool. Night Horrific Visions, I'll get to discover that. And so basically like these are like different types of delves, right? So this will be interesting. The rest I don't know. Some the quality of lives, I actually don't care. But like this is actually cool. This is actually cool. So yeah. Let me just right. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, so everything coming out. So this is coming out in May, where
Visions. Let me know in the comments a bunch of
so
the events, a new faction with loads of cosmetic rewards to unlock, and some really cool quality of life updates. So let's get into it. First,
what's the date? Well, I'll check it. I'll just check it out. Like um this is um wait, April 22. Wait, actually, it is confirmed that like wait, so it doesn't like come in May. It's actually next week, like in 2 weeks. Hmm? Because like they say,
Dragonflight and the
right?
War Within. It's pretty much everything major coming in patch 11.1.5. Some fun new events, a few quality of life happening in Hollowfall. A new faction called Flames Radiance are fighting off the remaining Naru. Horrific Visions are making it's coming in patch 11.1.5 for the War Within.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Uh, yeah, but like this is cool. So and apparently it 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 is it is releasing actually earlier, so April 24. April 22. So this is really cool. Okay, so yeah, let's keep going. Well, really interesting. Will be really fun to actually get to that. Anyway, so this is done. Okay.
So, I was binging Game of Thrones for like the 8th time, as you do.
Let me. Okay, let me.
Teenager.
Okay. This one is a longer one, but talking about Classic WoW. So Classic WoW gets released. You can watch the other streams. There's like, it's basically like the bread and butter. Is basically like the popular content about WoW. And let's react to, well, why is it so popular? Because I'm actually surprised that like, well, I just reacted to another like uh trailer uh of like another season of Classic WoW. Like nothing happened, like the first time it happens, it's actually fine, like I actually considered coming back. But when it's the 20th time that it happens, like, and it's still popular, I'm actually curious to know. Like I understand like a lot of arguments about it, because like there's like kind of like this sandbox, this, I don't know, like it has its magic. Like WoW is not a behemoth for no reasons, but also I would like to understand why other than that. So let's react to that.
Teenager hooked on violent computer games. He's playing them an incredible 16 hours a day.
Yep, yeah, that's me, and it was me back in the day.
This really kicks ass, doesn't it?
For Greg Straff, playing World of Warcraft has become an obsession.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. We were looking like such fucking demons. We were demonized by the fucking media back in the day. And now look at us. We're the cool kids now. We are the cool kids now. You're telling me that like we actually made it, like the fucking like let's just like just look at this dude. This dude is like like average person, just like enjoying video games, but basically we actually made it, and we actually like became popular. What do you mean we became popular? Like, and now we stream on Twitch, and we make bucks, and we make bank on the same fucking games that like let's re-listen to it. We were described as gamer as this.
Teenager hooked on violent computer games. He's playing them an incredible 16 hours a day.
This really kicks ass, doesn't it?
For Greg Straff, playing World of Warcraft has become an obsession.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Never won.
And what is it about World of Warcraft that's so special for you guys?
It's the best game there is.
In 2004, Blizzard released World of Warcraft. This has made a lot of people very angry and been widely regarded as a bad move. It took less than a year for World of Warcraft's impact on gaming as a whole to be evident. By the end of 2005, the game was already at 5.5 million subscribers, increasing to
9 million players in the World of Warcraft.
only 2 years later.
It's huge.
For context, EverQuest, the previous king of the genre, peaked at around 500,000 active subscribers, according to this book that Wikipedia cited, but I can't find an online copy of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like 10 million players. Like, can you understand? Like, some small countries, some small lost countries, right, do not have 10 million like inhabitants. So yeah, let me just check out real quick. Mm, how many players there is in WoW right now? Like, there is like a IGN. Okay, so IGN actually, what's the date of this? 2024. So after, yeah, so in between like 4 million and 7 million. Can you believe that? Like, it's actually like when we came back quite hard, huh?
As subscriber counts kept going up, the game kept changing to make sure everything stayed fresh. The first expansion, the Burning Crusade, finally let players fly around the map. Mists of Pandaria introduced the brand new Panda race, which to this day
is fucking hated by everyone. This was this is what I call a fucking like bad move, like you said. People did not understood like like there was like conspiracy that like it was to actually support like try to make sales in China because like the game is I think that like like it got like banned or like in China and unbanned, but like basically like but people hated Pandarins, but Pandarins were actually existed back in Warcraft because like Pandarins actually existed back in Warcraft, so it wasn't like it was like lore wise actually like legit, but yeah.
is played by no one. Battle for Azeroth
Yeah.
happened. World of Warcraft is still at the top of the MMO genre, but for many players, all of these changes made the game feel less like World of Warcraft. This left them yearning for a simpler time, a time more like 2004.
The problem is basically um that well, for players like me right now, it is over content. Like like for players like me, it's actually quite fun, especially since well allows me to explore and do a lot of like basically like there's a lot of things to do. But like for the average player, World of Warcraft is so rich, and this is a paradox. So this is kind of this reverse logic where like having a game too rich in content can be a problem because well, if you actually stumble upon this video or you actually stumble upon my stream or stumble upon a stream in general, because like even Twitch is like quite new, right? If you think about it, like it is not, but it is. But if you think about like the average player, the average gamer, right? This is the term that like will allow me to explain this easily. The average player is not a fucking is not a fucking degenerate like us that will that is able to even like fandom understand how much information they are presented with, so they get like overloaded, like it's overloaded with information, and they tell you fuck that, I go back to League of Legends because League of Legends it's easy enough, and or Valorant or basically or like story driven games, but like basically it's like or your classic Final Fantasy where you are still like you have like a lot of freedom but not too much, and you have not like too many things to do. At least like this is my opinion about like classic WoW, uh and why it is like so so popular just because like classic WoW like still stands as well, a single player game technically. Well, we can say this, right? As a single player game that after all this time, just like Final Fantasy 7, just like Halo, right? It still stands to this day. You can still play the game and it is still that good. But these days, yeah, too many things to do, and well, a lot of players kind of tend to forget, and it's the same with like Final Fantasy, Path of Exile, like type of like players. They tend to forget like the innocent player that they were when they started playing the game. They like this is the average player. If you think that like everyone is into fucking like Mythic Plus rating, Mythic Plus rating and fucking arena PvP, while or like completionism or whatever, or success like achievement hunting, like you're wrong. You got like you just got like that's lie. The average player is just like random like is basically the classic WoW player.
Actually, you know what? Maybe a time exactly like 2004. Why don't we just go back to 2004? So finally, on August 26th, 2019, World of Warcraft Classic was released. And it came with one very simple but very important promise. No matter what, there will be no changes. And 5 years later, those servers are still there. No changes, almost exactly as they were at the end of vanilla almost 2 decades ago. So why the hell are people still playing this game?
Yes, and this is so actually my question is after the classic WoW fever is got over, right? Why is this still popular? Like, well, technically it's the question that he answers, right? But my question is, why is this still popular? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, maybe, but like maybe you'll answer to that. But like, why is this still popular to the point like where they release more servers and it still goes on? Like, because the fever is over and basically now it's the same game. New players, I guess, but I don't know. Like maybe I'm stupid for saying that. I'm an idiot, so don't mind me.
World of Warcraft Classic is weird. And don't think you're safe either, little guy. Did you know neither of these two knew about today's sponsor, AG1? I played a lot of World of Warcraft for this video, which means my diet has been less than ideal. And you know what that means? I died. But today's sponsor, AG1, can stop you from being as unhealthy as I am. Since my miraculous reincarnation, I've started every morning with AG1. All it takes is 1 scoop a day to start getting the benefits. AG1 has all the daily nutrients you need to fill the gaps you might have in your diet, but anyone who knows me knows I really care about one thing, and that's my bowels. Luckily, AG1 contains prebiotics and probiotics. This helps your body do a better job of breaking down food, and it helps keep your poops regular, so hopefully you stop clogging the toilet so much. Why do you keep doing that? You need AG1 right away. If you want to start having more regular poops like me, or just want to feel healthier at all, scan the QR code on the screen right now and save $20 off your first order. Thanks, AG1. I bet you even helped me grow my legs back. MMORPGs as a genre are defined by games that are constantly changing and evolving and literally expanding. Even if you compare it to its closest counterpart, Old School RuneScape, it's a little weird. Old School RuneScape was released in 2013 as a re-release of how RuneScape was in 2007. And as you can see from its player count, things were going pretty well. I mean, in its first month, it was gaining players. Let's just zoom out a little. But over the next 2 years, Old School RuneScape would start to get some brand new content, like new bosses and new quests. This slowly but surely led to more people coming back to and trying out the game, as a lot started to change with it. Today though, Old School RuneScape is one of the biggest MMORPGs on the market, and it's also completely different than it was 11 years ago when it released.
Can you believe that like this sells to this day? Like, like to me, like, this is quite absurd, but like it must be this good, but like I cannot, like, my limit is Warcraft 3. All right, this is the limit. I cannot, like, not much more.
Compare that to World of Warcraft Classic, and let me just take a look in here real quick. Yeah. Yep, no changes. Everything you see around you in this game has been here since 2007 at the latest. This stump, been here the whole time. This lake, been here the whole time. This bed, been laying here the whole time. This rotten meat that should never be served to customers and has been in clear violation of the City of Philadelphia's Food Regulation Code, Section 46, subsection 281, that states that all food must be wrapped in containers or packaged as to prevent cross-contamination, has been here the whole time. So why, despite that everything is exactly the same as it always has been, are there still so many people here? The original Classic servers that came out in 2019 still have a really solid amount of players on them. It's what I've played for the past year. And when fresh Classic servers came out just recently, people flocked to them and started buzzing through the starting areas like nematodes, taking all my mob spawns. Guys, don't you know I'm a YouTuber? You're supposed to leave those to me! Well, as someone with absolutely no nostalgia for this game, I think I can tell you why it's still so popular. It's a really fucking good game.
Basically, like, I don't know what to say. Like, this is my only argument, like, as well, because like I don't see anything else that actually like legitimize the fact that I just reacted like less than fucking 20 minutes ago to another, like, relaunch, the 25th relaunch of another row. So basically it functions like this, right? New classic server, fresh, with the expansions. So the not the expansions, but like the updates that release over time, right? So you get like Molten Core, then Black Wind Layer, and Extremas, right? But like when you, and it just keeps going. Well, I just don't understand it, except like it is this good. But like you know, like as a video game critic, like technically like not the greatest one, right? Like I don't fucking get sponsored by IGN or like, but it is quite funny to just be like, so the argument, it is this good. You try to, because like overall the game is good, but like when the argument is like, yeah, no, it is, it's just because it's good that it sells, you know, like, and you cannot really like pinpoint, like describe like certain points, like rating, yeah, it's good, but like conclusion, yeah, it's good.
Seriously though, WoW Classic is a special kind of MMORPG. The progression.
But now that I think of it, like it has this like emotional, like drag to it that I think that like exists and actually like is something that is I think that like there is like this emotional thing about WoW that people get to discover through classic WoW, and it is only through, like, I think that like now it is quite more difficult to experience it through, well, modern WoW, because of just how overloaded and bloated the game is when it comes to content. Too much content disallows for this type of well, it's kind of like solo adventure, and that is not like where it's simple enough, but it is, but some being simple is does not mean being like being um being simplistic, I guess, right? I don't know. I guess it's the emotional thing as well, but like, yeah, it is this good. That's the argument.
progression of the game, whether it be just questing or getting gear upgrades or leveling up, hits like crack in a way that so few games manage to do. And as you're journeying through the world and see players in their endgame gear, you start to realize what the longer term goals are for you, and they keep you motivated through some of the low points in the game. But that's not really what I think sets this game apart even to this day. It's something much more fundamental. WoW Classic has something that not a lot of other MMORPGs have. The fact that it's an RPG. Okay, I know it's become really cliche to say that MMORPGs don't feel like RPGs anymore, but whenever I play World of Warcraft Classic, I get the same feeling I got as a kid playing games like Skyrim, or Knights of the Old Republic, or Putt-Putt Travels Through Time. I know Putt-Putt Travels Through Time isn't an RPG, but it's really good, and they need to make more of them. There's a lot in this game that lends itself to feeling like an RPG, but the number one aspect to me is the At its absolute core, the WoW Classic experience.
The adventure of a lifetime. Yeah, you always will remember it, and like, yes, you will remember your journey. Like, you will remember like your first character. You will remember, like, there's like how memorable it is as well. Yeah, I guess it is true.
Experience is about one thing. Going from level 1 to level 60. That journey will take the average player at least a month, probably more like 2 or 3, depending on how much time you have to play and how efficient you are playing. In a lot of more modern MMORPGs, that's kind of unthinkable. If you look at the modern version of World of Warcraft, which I'll call Retail World of Warcraft, the leveling process is just this little gross thing you have to get to before you can get to the actual game. And Blizzard knows that the leveling in Retail WoW sucks, so it really takes only 2 or 3 days tops to go from level 1 to the max level of 80. And speedrunners have even discovered a strategy to go from level 10 to 80 in 2 seconds using a strategy called
credit card
money, where you just buy a level boost to skip leveling. The reality is for retail,
I think that like when it comes to retail WoW, I think that like it's actually one of the problems and one of the reasons well, I actually talked about it during the stream, where I think that you should allow this should add the option to level max all enemies in other zones, so you get like kind of like the MMO thrill, right, of like not just like going through like the journey of a lifetime through the older expansions, but also like the fact that like it is, I actually disagree, but like leveling is well, people should have the choice between like starting level 1 and actually getting like this 1 month experience of leveling up, or getting to level like 60 or 70 and leveling 10 levels to get to the end game. And I think that like this is kind of like the mistake that they make, because like back in the day, heritage armor, like during Wrath of the Lich King, leveling up was still a process that took months, like a month. It still took a long time, right? And basically now like basically this, for example, some small things that were like really cool were like heritage armor, and that like makes your experience like go faster. But it was worth it, and it was interesting because, well, because it was like actually a grind and took a long time. So I don't know, it is like, I think that like it is I don't agree with him when it's when it comes to leveling. I had a fun time, and they should leave the choice to the player, like actually just like leave the choice of in between, like, well, the fast grind or the 1 month grind that makes classic WoW so popular. I don't know, maybe.
Retail WoW and so many other MMOs like it, the game starts at max level. In WoW Classic, the game starts when you log in. It's a crazy idea, but hey, it works. And what makes this leveling journey work is that the entire thing is built like an adventure. When you finish character creation, you'll be shown an intro cinematic based on whatever race you picked. If you picked a human, you'll see the city of Stormwind and hear the most amazing music you've ever heard in your life. If you picked a night elf, you'll see the mystical woods of Teldrassil. If you made an undead character, go to therapy. During these intro cinematics, a narrator will give you a brief overview of the race and their current position in the lore of the world, but what really hammers it home is how they describe your place in the world.
It is your sworn duty to defend Darnassus and the wild children of nature against the Legion's encroaching corruption.
The best part of these calls to action that end every cinematic is how small scale they are. You're not the chosen one. You're not the only person who can save the world.
And this is something that actually, like, in the war within, like, I don't know where, like, they actually went back to, you are not the chosen one anymore as well. At least, like, in my opinion. Well, like, well, with, like, the artifact weapons and all the stuff, you became the chosen one for, like, a couple of expansions, right? But then, now, you're back at you're not in retail WoW, in modern WoW. At least, like, I feel like it. Like, you're still, but you became powerful, but you're not technically special. Like, you're not like the chosen one anymore, I guess. When lore-wise, power-wise, it's different.
You're one part of a whole. One of the many humans who will protect Stormwind. One of the many undead who will help Sylvanas accomplish her goal of getting revenge on Arthas. One of the many gnomes who's just a silly little guy.
My, you're a tall one.
Yes, I am. This is a trope you'll see sometimes in RPGs. In Oblivion, for example, you aren't the chosen one, you're just there to help Martin Septon, the Emperor, do what he needs to do to save the world. You aren't the hero, you're a hero. This storytelling technique works so well in an MMORPG where you'll be working not just alongside hundreds of NPCs, but literally thousands of players who are just like you. And in the first minutes of creating a character, this game has already given story motivation on a scale that is both super easy to understand, but also leaves things open for you to carve your own path forward. Or at least that's how I felt when I first played it. Most people probably just skipped the intro cinematics. But even if you don't,
yeah, and this is like the important part. Where it's like, it has to be easy at this point. Like, a lot of video games try to fucking like sell you, like basically sell you so much content, and they forget because well, technically everyone forgets, but like, I guess like gamers end up in this bubble themselves, right? Well, like they forget that like they are like the average player is a noob, is a newbie, and not a fucking like a fucking degen tryhard that spends 8 hours per day playing the game. And this is true for like many games, you know.
Don't care about the story at all. The way the story is woven into the gameplay means you'll have an unbelievably smooth experience no matter what. But I'm not gonna make you sit through my retelling of one of these stories in its entirety. The Defias are a gang of bandits that have been terrorizing the human capital of Stormwind for years, and one of the first quests you'll ever receive on a fresh human character involves killing some of them since they took over a vineyard and started eating all the grapes, I assume. I don't know why else you'd take over a vineyard. As you progress throughout the first human zone, you'll start to see more and more of them as you just do quests you find around the map. Quests like stealing their red burlap bandanas, or stealing their red linen bandanas, or stealing their red silk bandana. I mean, Jesus, guys, could we not have come up with something different? Eventually, these quests lead you to the next zone, Westfall, where you'll slowly but surely start uncovering the truth of who these bandits are and the full extent of their operation. You're sent across all the zones that surround Stormwind until you find out that the Defias Brotherhood are formerly members of the Stonemasons Guild, the people who rebuilt Stormwind after the Second War. They were never paid by the nobles for their work and eventually turned to crime and terrorism to get their revenge. People like to say that means they did nothing wrong, but I mean, they did do terrorism. The storyline culminates in you and a group going into the first dungeon most Alliance players ever go to in their adventures, the Dead Mines. This dungeon fucking rocks, dude. Even to this day, veteran players still yearn for the mines. This dungeon is where the leader of the Defias, Edwin Van Cleef, has been holed up as he oversees the construction of a massive warship that will be used to exact his revenge once and for all, and it's up to you and your group to stop him. This story is not only one of the better small-scale storylines in any MMORPG, it's also just a great gameplay experience. You'll start pulling back the layers by questing in a way that feels natural. The Defias story quests chain together seamlessly across multiple zones, giving you the ability to see what those new areas have to offer, while
And this is like also the important part, and this is something that I, as a content creator and streamer, actually, well, revisit and take the time to do, but people actually reading the quests. That's actually the fucking stupid thing that people do not fucking do in modern WoW, because everything is so cramped and so overloaded and so fast, right? But actually the quality of the quest is actually really fucking good, right? But it's just that like the basically the gaming experience that they offer you do not like suggest like do not motivate you to actually take the time to read this quest, to do this lore, and to end up like this guy, like this guy Ideal, right? By the way, subscribe, leave a like, right, to this guy. Really fucking good content. Basically telling you about, basically saying, discovered about the fucking like, how is it called? Fuck. The device. How is it called? Fuck. Wait. I forgot the fucking name, but like, the Brotherhood.
also showing you just how big the world is, and it all comes together to have you go into what is more than likely the first dungeon on your character. For new players, this whole questline is a cleverly designed tutorial that will help you find your footing.
The Defiance Brotherhood, like, well, basically, yeah, but and also like how how like the zones grow in danger. Like you go from like the Defiance Brotherhood. Well, I need to. Yeah, Defiance Brotherhood. That's you go from that to let's say the well, how it's called, east, like the Plaguelands. And as a player, like this is something really really impressive, because you go from, well, well, just like some bandits that are like stealing and like and hunting wolves to plague the lands, basically, as the zombie world that was lost and that cannot be recovered anymore
in the world. And for veteran players, it's an efficient and smooth gameplay experience that, frankly, I've looked forward to on every character I've ever made. No matter how you choose to play, whether you're story focused or just here to grind XP, this storyline will be an important part of the early levels for your character. By the time you're wrapped up with the dead mines on your character, you'll probably be around level 20, or 1/30th of the way to level 60 if you're bad at math. It's not a short amount of time for your character, but the rewards and the payoff will genuinely feel worth it, and the time investment is a big part of that dopamine hit you're gonna get. At the end of the questline, you'll get what might just be your first rare item, and it's a great feeling, and it's also really, really useful.
This is so
There's
true.
examples of these long world-spanning quests all over World of Warcraft Classic. One of my favorite as a paladin main is the quest to get Varrigan's Fist, an extremely powerful mace for its level. The quest takes a really long time and has you go all across the world to see some really amazing parts of it that you might not otherwise go see, and the reward makes it all justified.
Yeah, another thing that, like, well, now the balance is too complicated because you became technically lore-wise or even like gameplay-wise too powerful, is the fact that, like, it's a stupid thing, but the fact that you need to regen. In Classic WoW, you need to regen a lot. It slows the pace, it makes it for another adventure what if you have to regen, if you have to take the time to rest in between the fights, if you have to take the time to travel in between, and if you travel not too fast, because like flying is a good thing. Flying disconnects you from a lot of like gameplay, and it's basically in classic WoW, you do not get flying. And because of that, if you want, like, you have to like flying and teleportation are like luxuries that you do not have often. And if you and it makes your decision, the decision you actually make during your game, during your gameplay, actually matter way more, because now it's like, well, I can teleport like basically at 60 places at once, and and each time you want to go somewhere, it will be like I'll be there in a minute, right? But back in the day, you want to do Zul'Farrak, right? Zul'Farrak, or uh, how is it called? Like basically Skullmans, right? Well, you start at Stormwind, and you spam on the channel searching people that you search people to do Skullmans, and then everyone that you find is also in Stormwind, right? And then you have to fucking go to fucking Skullmans. And this is like a process that takes 30 minutes. But like because it is an MMO, well, it is actually quite also this is also the good part of it. So basically, like this is also the the good part of the gameplay, I'd say. The social aspect, the fact that like you have to spend like 30 minutes with people, you ended up like talking with them, because like now dungeons, you don't even get to type to talk to people, because there's a timer, right? But back in the day, it was not like that. You need to take 30 minutes just to get there. So maybe there will be like someone saying jokes, and maybe there will be someone like, and basically you have to socialize what's going on, and you ended up making a lot of friends like this. Because you end up like finishing like Skullmans, or like or I don't know, or Zul'Farrak, or like, well, the dead mines, right? And you're like, well, let's do it again next time, and you have them in your friend list now. And this process actually does not exist as much anymore. It does, but it doesn't as much.
A really great YouTuber, appropriately named Vyrah, has a whole video on this quest. I highly recommend it. I've linked it in the description. In the grand scheme of the journey to 60, though, the story that defies brotherhood and Edwin Van Cleef makes up only a small fraction of it. The world is only going to get bigger, and the grinds are only going to take longer, because World of Warcraft Classic is a slow game. I mean, it's like a really slow game.
Exactly. So this is what I was talking about, the moments in between where you just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the environment, and enjoy the fact that like it's quite realistic compared to real life, where like well, you get to enjoy like the ride, right? You get to enjoy the ride. That's what's missing. Where now it's like so fast, modern, like so fucking fast to say.
MMORPGs, and all games really, want to avoid making you bored at all costs. What this leads to in a lot of modern MMORPGs is the game constantly moving at a breakneck pace, never giving you a moment to breathe, or making it feel like any time you spend not gaining XP or killing a boss is a moment wasted. But WoW Classic just doesn't care about that.
Yeah, for example, you want to go between Ironforge and Stormwind, you can take the Griffin. You can take the Griffin, yeah. That's true. But like, you can also take the fucking like railway, right? The metro, basically like the deep run tram, the tram in between, and it is faster. It is actually faster. And do you know what you can do as well? If you, well, you can see here, like if you choose to jump here, well, you have to fucking walk or wait an hour because your Hearthstone does not, well, is on cooldown. And these little things, well, basically, like he shows exactly what I'm talking about. Well, like you're with like someone and you're just waiting, and basically you get the time to talk and chill and just like have a good time with them and just talking, like just like enjoying some like good content, you know?
I mean, yeah, the leveling from 1 to 60, like I've already mentioned, can take you a couple of months. That's pretty slow, but that's not even what I mean when I say this is a slow game. Throughout the world, there are these moments where you have no choice but to just sit and wait. If you want to take the boat from Menethil Harbor to Darkshore on the other side of the planet, you have to just sit at the dock until the boat arrives. And then you get on the boat, and then you wait for the boat to leave, and then you wait for the boat to go across the world and reach the other dock, and then you can leave and go do what you're going to do. It's the same if you want to take the train from Stormwind to Ironforge. You still have to wait for the tram to get there, and then you have to wait for it to go through the whole underground tunnel until you get to Ironforge.
And technically, it's useless content, you know? Like, it is technically useless content, but it is faster than the Griffin. And if, now that I think of it, in your first playthrough, well, if you do not have the Griffin to Stormwind or Ironforge, well, there's only the fucking train that you can take to get there. And this is really such a cool experience, you know?
If you want to fly from Ratchet to Astronar, you have to take this absolute bonkers path. I mean, what are we doing here? How is the straight line? Have we heard of straight lines? Seriously, this flight path takes like 15 real world minutes. You'd be forgiven for hearing all this and saying, wow, that sure sucks. But in reality, it really doesn't.
Yeah, because like what he says, I'll translate this to what will actually like make you actually like make you fucking understand how paradoxical it is, almost of a paradox it is. Imagine your modern game with a 15-minute loading screen, but that moves, that like it shows like content, right? It shows like images or stuff. 15 minutes, like 15 minutes of load screen. People will tell you, have you lost your fucking mind? Like, are you crazy? But this is enjoyable.
All of these moments set the tone for the game in a really special way. When you and a few other people are all waiting for the boat together, you have nothing else to do, so you might as well talk to each other. Maybe you can even play the penis game, but I will warn you, I always win. I'm almost 30. Even if you're taking the boat alone, the downtime forces you to slow down, to be a little inefficient, in a time where every MMO player seems to want to min-max. It creates a culture in the game where players become comfortable taking a minute or two in other parts of their adventure. Maybe that time is spent helping another player do a quest you've already done, or going to harvest some resources for your guild, or starting a beef-based cult in the capital city of Stormwind. That really happened, I'm not even making that up. People talk all the time about wanting MMOs to be social again, and they debate how to do that. Do you force people to group up for content and remove soloing as an option altogether?
No, you actually slow the pace. Slow the pace and force a slower pace, where with downtimes. This is how you do it, and this is why Classic WoW is successful at being social, a social game, because it has a slow pace and downtimes.
Do you create quests that require you and a partner to be on separate gangs? In my experience, those forced socializing moments are usually more frustrating than engaging. But in WoW Classic, it's natural. Socializing is almost never the optimal thing to do, so when the pace is slowed down in so many other ways, you're given a license to do something suboptimal, like attending a sex party at the Goldshire Inn. I've never had a dungeon in World of Warcraft Classic where my team isn't talking to each other. Sometimes that talking can be toxic, but 99% of the time we're joking around or planning how to take on a fight. Because of the very simple fact that to form a dungeon group we're forced to message one another and travel to the dungeon from wherever we are on the map, it never feels like there's too much of a rush where we can't take a second to type to each other. And for me, this has made doing dungeons my favorite part of World of Warcraft Classic. I've met
Exactly, and this is why like Mythic Plus is actually like such a fucking good but awful experience. Like there is like so basically Mythic Plus are the dungeons in modern WoW, and the problem like the timer here is to keep on going, like to keep like the thing challenging, and to keep it difficult, to keep it like to not make it boring, right? But at the same time it takes away all the social aspect, and it is difficult to actually like find the social aspect because you don't have the time. But in it, like dungeons with like random players, when you have the time, and you don't, in Mythic Plus you don't get the chance to wipe, so basically lose, right? If you die once, the group disbands and people are like, I give up, right? Here, like in the Classic WoW, there is like many like people like in a dungeon that like basically they struggled until the end of the dungeon for 2 or 3 hours, and they fucking made it, right? And they never and you never forget about it, you know. And that's basically what it is.
Met friends from it in the short time I've played. It's been a truly social experience. Contrast that to modern World of Warcraft, where the Dungeon Finder tool will not only group up for you, but will instantly teleport you to the dungeon. It is great that I can do dungeons on demand as fast as I want and then get teleported back to my original grind, but it also means that you always feel like you're moving at a breakneck pace. In almost every dungeon I've done in retail World of Warcraft, me and my teammates haven't said a word to each other. And when we do, it's usually for something stupid like, oh, I fucked up healing again, but I don't ever make mistakes. Except when I'm healing. I make kind of a lot of mistakes when I'm healing. People die all the time. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that what retail World of Warcraft does is strictly worse. What retail World of Warcraft does is strictly worse. With WoW Classic, there's something that just feels right about having to actually walk to the physical location in the world of these dungeons. Walking to Shadowfang Keep and seeing the abandoned, decrepit village that sits right next to it as you play scenarios in your mind of what happened here, and it adds so much context to when you actually go into the dungeon itself. And the journey to the dungeon forces you to explore locations you might otherwise have totally missed.
And it makes meeting the other players as well like something really magical, because you get to see who is the person that you will play with, and sometimes you get surprises that like you got lucky about a drop, or like in Classic WoW, for example, like having an epic, like seeing someone like let's say like level 40 or 50 with an epic item is actually something unbelievable. Like you feel like and this is like something that is really like unlike any other game.
And it's those moments where you'll stray off the path you thought you had set out for yourself, and straying off the path is when you discovered that there's a world. I said at the beginning of the video that World of Warcraft Classic makes me feel the same way I do when I play a game like Skyrim. Obviously, these are two extremely different games, but what unites them is the fact that I never get tired of exploring these worlds, despite the fact that I've spent well over 2,000 hours in each. Oh boy. Remember the Defias Brotherhood storyline from earlier? Well, that takes place roughly here. The rest of the world is here. And then the rest of the world is here. It's a lot of world to explore. This world is massive, something that it shares in common with Skyrim and other RPGs of the same archetype. But the world's not just big physically. Every gameplay system is built to make the world feel even bigger than it is. Jeff Kaplan, the original lead designer on World of Warcraft, said this about the design of raids back in 2005.
The world feels a lot bigger for everyone if there's unbeaten content out there. Even if you're the guy who's like level 30 doing a Wrathy Highlands quest, but you know that the resident Uber guild of your servers, you know, trying to kill Nefarian, it creates an epic feel for the whole world.
And while Classic does a great
Wow,
job,
this is actually quite a great quote, and this is quite fascinating.
Of showcasing this world to you, when you take those
You know, trying to kill quest, but you know there a lot.
I've said this about the design of raids back in Jeff Kaplan, the original.
I'll just keep his name. I'll just write his name real quick, because like this is maybe.
Original lead designer on World of Warcraft said this about the design of raids back in 2005.
The world feels a lot bigger for like of your servers.
And while Classic does a great job of showcasing this world to you, when you take those ridiculously inefficient flight paths, you're getting taken on a tour of places around the world the developers want you to see. Maybe it's flying past Blackrock Mountain, an endgame area on your fresh character, or it's just flying low to the ground through Elwyn Forest, seeing all of the other people questing in the area. These flight paths take a long time, but help to cement the feeling that you're in a large world. It's something that fast travel systems and easy teleportation take away from. But making a
Yeah, and actually, when it comes to like solo, like single player story driven games, an advice that I actually like discovered and actually agree with is if you play single player story driven game, never use fast travel. Never. If you actually allow yourself, if you actually control yourself and do not allow just like forbid yourself from using fast travel in story-driven solo games, you will discover an experience that is really different and really better, like overall better. But you have to do the effort of forbid yourself to, because I won't say like even once breaks the magic, right? But you like there's like a no turning point to it that is actually like once you've like fast traveled too many times, it takes away like some of the magic that you will have gotten of your solo like story driven game, let's say Skyrim or The Witcher or Final Fantasy, right? It takes like it is gone once you fast travel too much. Like if you don't fast travel, you'll get a better experience in any story game, any single player game. Like don't do it. It is much more fun to actually like go through it without it. Pretend it doesn't exist. Pretend you don't have pretend you cannot do it. So yeah.
Massive world is pretty easy. I mean, Ubisoft's been doing it for years now, and they're the worst. Am I right, gamers? Make sure to like and subscribe. Making a massive world that's worth exploring, though, that's hard. There needs to be substance under the surface. Parts of the game that make the player stop to think, even if it's just for a second. What I'm referring to is something called environmental storytelling. For example, when you walk into the undead capital city that sits in the ruins of Lordaeron, formerly one of the major human cities, you'll hear the cheers of civilians echoing through the halls, rose petals scattered on the ground leading to the throne room. It's a haunting moment that makes you pause and wonder what celebration was happening here, and how did it go from that to this? Fans of the Warcraft franchise will know exactly what happened in this throne room. For them, it's a callback to one of the most important moments in Warcraft's history. But for those new to the universe, it's a mystery that they'll have to explore the world to learn more about. The Undercity is a place that every single Horde player will go to at some point in their adventure though, and it's easy to sprinkle lore across these heavily trafficked zones. But the special sauce in World of Warcraft is those areas that players might not go to, the areas that might have 1 or 2 standalone quests or even no quests at all. If the rest of the world beyond the hotspots is barren of anything interesting, it's not going to feel like a world anymore. But in WoW Classic, it feels like every corner of the map has something hidden that is waiting to be found. When I was level 30 collecting herbs around Duskwood, a level 20 to 30 zone, I got myself a little sidetracked when I found a path scaling a mountain. I decided to keep following this path even though it wasn't on my herb gathering route. There are no quest markers in this big unexplored area of the map, so it couldn't be that important, but I still wanted to keep going if only to finish filling out the map. And what I found when I got to the center of it was a fucking dragon? A skull level dragon? Like a dragon that could kill me in one shot? Huh? What's this little guy doing here?
And basically, like, well, let me just say. And basically, like, this is the type of content that no one did as well. It was like really rare for people to do it. Like, but it dropped unique like a unique quest, like and unique epic items, like which is actually really quite worthy, even a pattern, right? So it is actually worth it, right? No one did it. It was like kind of this, like, the few that did know how great it was, you know?
And there's a portal that I would have explored closer, but you know, the fucking dragon and all that. I sat here just staring at the dragon for a solid 2 minutes, just wondering what the hell he's doing here. It was a discovery that made the world feel real to me. Believe me when I tell you that the world is full of this kind of stuff. Sometimes it's on a smaller scale, like randomly encountering Rexar in Desolus, a place that makes me sad, but it was still cool to see the guy from that one Hearthstone game I played wandering around. And other times it's on a way larger scale, like wandering the Swamp of Sorrows and coming across this massive temple sitting in one of the few open areas in the zone. This temple, for example, is the exterior of the dungeon Temple of Atal Hakar. Everyone just calls it Sunken Temple because it's a temple, and it's, well...
These little pieces of flavor make this really massive world feel full and alive, like your character is actually part of something bigger.
But this is also the limit, where for, like, the average player, this is right enough, right? It's good enough, but Modern WoW, it is... Well, this content still exists, but it is too fast, and there is so much more that is just overlapping, that is just on top of it, that is just like with it, that makes it these moments really difficult to have unless you actively as a player force yourself to get them by slowing the pace, by not like by just like by having a certain player behavior, and this player behavior, well, basically you cannot think always that like the average player is here for an adventure. He's not here to fucking like tell him, like, give itself to him, or else you know what he will do. It will fucking like create it itself, you know, like.
This is a feeling that games like Skyrim nail, in my opinion, and it's the reason I find it so easy to come back to these worlds, even though I feel like I know everything about them.
Yeah, and the idea of losing yourself in the game is easy to do in Classic WoW, and it is difficult to do in Modern WoW unless you actively actively do effort to allow yourself to lose yourself in the game. So this does not happen because this is why I like modern WoW is so different, because you because the average player cannot fucking do not have like this degenerate education about video games, being a hardcore gamer and all this nonsense.
It might seem like I'm overselling this aspect of an MMO. I mean, we're basically talking about set dressing right now. But when I asked people a few weeks ago what was important to them in a new MMORPG, so many people said they wanted that feeling of adventure, like they were discovering a world again. WoW Classic has that. Even for veteran players that I meet while grouping up for content, they still tell me they find new things out all the time. I'll agree completely that it is not the most important thing for a game to have all of this stuff that WoW Classic nails, but it's the exact thing that's given it the staying power it's had. It's why people keep coming back, even though they have been here so many times before, despite the fact that it has a ton of jank. And boy, does it have a lot of jank. Things like the graphics are clearly dated, with tree branches just being pixelated 2D textures that don't hold up to any sort of scrutiny up close. Or even with gameplay, where people can take quest objectives from you and you just have to wait for that quest objective to respawn, sometimes for like 5 to 10 minutes. That's a little crazy. That's like, we weren't really thinking on that one, were we, Blizzard? I mean, come on. Or look at this basilisk. Whoa, where's he going? He's got somewhere to be. That's not really jank. I just thought that was funny. Even the game's players show their age. Like, most of them are boomers or can't let go of a meme. Like, how are we still doing Hawk Tuah, guys? It's been months.
There's also like what it does, like there's a lot of jank, but like compared to the overall like content that you get for the game, which is basically like it's $10. Like Classic WoW is like it's $10. It's $10 the game, $10. Well, for the price, like the amount of content that you get for the jank you get, the ratio is good, and the ratio is amazingly good.
Jank and signs of age are everywhere in the game, and while I do find a lot of it charming, there are parts that are genuinely bad. For example, the class balance in WoW Classic is genuinely horrible. If you're not playing a warrior, you're playing the wrong class. I main a paladin, and I would love nothing more than to do raids as a DPS paladin, but no one is even going to touch me with a 10-foot pole if I tell them I'm trying to do that. But altogether, the jank and dated aspects of this game are all part of the charm. Parts that maybe do slow you down a little bit, but like I said,
I was a DPS paladin back in the day, back in Zul'Gurub, and yeah, it fucking happened. Like people were like different back in the day, but it can happen also in Classic. But yeah, min-maxing is a culture that is really like toxic, but the Classic kind of like is able to push away, make disappear a little bit, you know?
That's part of the world. World of Warcraft Classic is, at the end of the day, an old, slow game, but it is genuinely a fun game. It's a fun RPG. I know it might seem weird that I've hardly talked about how good the combat in this game is or how strong the class fantasy is, but to me, that's all stuff that other MMOs have been able to catch up with in the history of the genre. What none of these other games have been able to match is the world and the story and just the way it all feels so cohesive with the gameplay. World of Warcraft was a special game when it came out in 2004. There's a reason it took the world by storm and why so many people subscribed immediately. And to this day, it has retained everything that made it special and everything that made it a good game, even with its age. Even if World of Warcraft Classic continues to never get any changes, I think it's a game that people will keep coming back to for the next 5, 10, 15, even 20 years. Maybe even 30 years. Maybe 50 years.
For your support.
People are saying 100.
Hey, you're a patron.
I could see 150.
I like you
200
very
might be
much
pushing.
because, hey,
I could see that
you're
too.
a patron.
250?
Patreon is where you're at. You went to the URL in the description and you gave me your money, and that's pretty neat. Hey, you're a patron. Thank you so much for your support. Hey, you're a patron. I like you very much, cause hey, you're a patron. Patreon is where you're at. You went to the URL in the description and you gave me your money, and that's pretty neat.
This was a great fucking video. Thank you, Ideal, for like don't forget to leave a like and like subscribe to Ideal, like if you actually like this type of content. He made like good separate points, and let me subscribe to that. And yeah, like I think that like this is really like interesting, because he talks about the pacing and he talks about like stuff that I actually talked about during the stream. And but yeah, but overall the conclusion is, wow, classic. Why is it popular? Like, you won't believe it. It's just because it is that good. For video game critics and people similar to that, it is like, this is a nightmare, because like video game critics and stuff like that, basically they have to sell you the game and tell you why it's good, and and here you have like fucking like Classic WoW being like, yeah, so about Classic WoW, why is it good? Because it is. That's the argument. Buy it, play it, enjoy it, right? It is that stupid, but I guess with some argument, Classic WoW, it is just that good. Anyway, let me get to okay, I'll be right back in a second. Okay. I'm missing something. I am actually missing some weeb fucking news. So weeb fucking content. Weeb is good. Weeb is nice. So let's get to it. Um
じゃあ今まさに空を動いているのは何なんです？
地球だ。
地球ってそんなわけ。え？地球？
You have never seen an anime like this before. Peak is one of the most overused words in the anime community right now. I swear, people are calling anything peak now, as long as it's the newest shiny thing to enter our community.
Because anime is that good these days. That's the reality of it. Anime is that good these days.
What new show everyone seems to be talking about? Peak. Flashy, well-animated fight scene just dropped. Peak! This man has aura.
Oh, bro, that's fucking peak!
It's been used so much that when a series comes along that embodies what that word should mean, I don't even want to call it that in case it cheapens the experience it brings. But Recently, a show has come along where no matter what word I use to describe it, I still feel it wouldn't be doing it justice, because no words I say can properly convey the experience it gave me. It is simply that good. An anime that is not just a passing fad, doesn't have flashy fights, but simply gives you a one-of-a-kind experience that showcases the true depth of the human spirit. That's as beautiful as it is inspirational, and, like many of the truly greats, has something I feel many of us need to hear. A show that, to me, is not just in the running of anime for the season or even anime of the year, it's right up there as possibly my anime of the decade. And I say that knowing full well that this decade will have the likes of Frieren, Dandadan, and Vinland Saga in it. That show was Orb, on the movements of the earth. But before that, Anime Girls. Thanks to today's sponsor, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. Girls Frontline 2 Exilium is a 3D strategy RPG with a beautiful art style, utilizing the next-gen NPR and PBR technology, and if you didn't understand any of that, let me dumb it down for you. Ooh. Game looked good. Taking the role of commander, you and your tactical dolls will battle enemy factions through contaminated zones, uncovering the conspiracies lurking beneath the surface of the New World Order. But you know, we wouldn't be talking about any of this unless there wasn't an update, so let me introduce you to the brand new targeted procurement banner. The new Elite Sentinel doll Klukai and her Skylar weapon are available to pull right now, and from April 10th, the new Elite support doll Mekti and her Daydream weapon will be as well. There's also a new limited time discount available until April 9th for Klukai, Perichia, and Macchiato's new outfits. You can also participate in the new limited time event, Aphelion, and enjoy the boundary push and assault simulation game modes. But I know why you're really here. New event means new free stuff. Claim 10 access permissions and 30 targeted access permissions through the server-wide rewards and daily login events, and Klukai's Speed Star outfit after completing in-game tasks. Finally, if that wasn't enough, there's Elmo Spring Gachapon event, which is offering guaranteed rewards with every roll and a chance to win prizes. So, what are you waiting for? Download the game today with the link in the description below. Also, follow them on their socials for more updates and chances to redeem social media freebies. Thank you very much to Girls Frontline 2 Exilium for sponsoring me today. And with that said, back to Orb. It's alternate history Poland, a time when everyone knows the Earth is the center of the universe, and the church gets a little pissy if you imply anything but that, branding anyone who spreads opposing ideas as heretics and tries to make them see the light by making them see the light. Rafał, a normal kid searching for an easy life, has a chance meeting with a scientist and, under some extenuating circumstances, tells him about this little thought experiment that turns his whole world upside down. Or sideways. Or left to right. Or, yeah, I guess space technically doesn't have any directions. Rafał, you've become part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Are you putting together a team? I'm putting together a team. We're gonna call them... Heliocentrism, the idea that the very Earth they are standing on is actually moving. An idea so profound, so dangerous, it could get them tortured and killed. And yet this little conversation starts a domino effect of a journey spanning years, spanning decades, about man's perseverance in the pursuit of truth and knowledge no matter the cost. So, it's an anime about proving the Earth rotates around the sun? But, ew, isn't that like boring space shit? Okay, first off, you don't find the concept of turning the world upside down with one of the biggest scientific discoveries in history interesting? It's okay, I'll just...
Yeah, I understand that, but I've done like many like story. I'm a nerd, right? And yeah, back in the day, like I was here, back I wasn't. Back in the day, like these questions were actually like considered as blasphemy. So this is actually like quite interesting that like someone was like, let's talk about like the people that fucking died because they tried to doubt the church, right? So no, because dying because you doubt the church, not common, not really like present era anymore. It's not like it's not that much it's not that flashy, but like can you believe that like think about like realistically, right now, like dying for the church, right? Because blasphemy, you know, the church like where like no one goes, that is like in your fucking village or whatever, or a city that like 5 people go and you go take pictures like when you go to another city. Like people died because the people like basically working in it, serving it, basically they were like, you do not doubt us, and they died. And this is an anime, like, this is actually quite fascinating that, like, they actually went for that. But, like, think about it this way. So people died because, like, so they were like, I don't believe the church, and the people from the church, they were like, fuck you, die, and they did.
Just find someone else to talk about all these 3-hour space facts to fall asleep to videos. And secondly, watching anime can sometimes be like eating pizza. I'm going somewhere with this, I swear. I've always got time for good pizza. Who doesn't love a good pizza? And there are so many variations. You can order one of the big 3 if you just want something comforting and familiar. A New York slice if you want to destroy your body in a great tasting way. Stone-baked sourdough if you feel a little fancier. Some of you sickos like Hawaiian. It's okay. I went through a period of my life where I wanted to feel different too. I will never get bored of pizza, but at the same time, it's pizza. I know what to expect. I've had it a million times before, and I will continue to do so. But then, I remember the first time I tried skimen, a dish I would have never heard of if I didn't move to Japan, and it awoke something in me. A noodle dish burst full of flavor, unlike any ramen dish I tried, and right there and then, a new craving had formed. A craving I had never had before. And as you get older and continue to try new things, experiencing that first bite of this completely new dish, something you've never tasted before, gets harder and harder to find. And it's moments like that that reminds you there is more to life than just pizza. What was I talking about again? Orb is so far removed from any concept I've seen in anime before, and that's such a rare feeling to have now. Does that mean you're necessarily gonna fuck with it because it's something new? No, but Orb is one of those cases where exploring something new allows them to do something magical with it that you rarely get to see in other anime. Right off the opening bat, the show sets up its world, sets up its goals. We're gonna drop the biggest bombshell this globe has ever seen, and we're gonna do it without getting caught. You understand what's happening, you get the general direction the story is heading, and that's the exact moment it grabs you by the neck and choke slams you onto the ground for thinking you were smart enough to know where the plot was taking you. Almost immediately, you realize the stakes are real and it is not here to fuck around. As soon as you think you know what is going to happen next is the exact point where you should be the most afraid. It is.
And this is actually the interesting point, because, like, usually it's because war, because conflict, because bad guy, because mistake were made, or like because debt, right? Here it's about philosophy and like a philosophical point of view about religion. But the same stakes as fucking Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, or One Piece. But it's about heliocentrism. Right. So I still understand like why like why it must feel different, you know.
It's rare nowadays that a series does something that is genuinely able to surprise me once, and yet Orb was able to do it like half a dozen times. This is a show that doesn't play by the book, it rips it apart and writes its own, all led by the greatest anime villain we've seen of this decade thus far. Normally when we talk about anime, we use other anime as a frame of reference, but
yeah, and like the anime villain is a philosopher, like say like.
But I haven't seen a character as terrifying as Novak since Christoph Waltz's performance in Inglourious Bastards. A man whose sheer presence doubles your blood pressure when he's on screen, demanding your attention in every scene he's in and refusing to let go. A smart, calculated man, ruthlessly efficient at his job of catching heretics, but the most terrifying thing of all is that he's someone who sees themselves as completely in the right, and can use that as justification to enact some of the most heinous things a person can bring upon another human being. There are moments in this that craft the kind of tension where you forget to breathe, because you genuinely do not know which direction a scene is going to go. Are we going to continue moving forwards? Is it going to head sideways, or is Novak dragging us all into hell? And you think that if you just let your guard down for a single second, somehow it'll affect the fates of the characters on screen. It has been so long since a show has been able to make me feel that. And yet, this high-stakes cat-and-mouse game isn't even the show's biggest strength, and Novak arguably isn't even the best character. Rafal, a boy too smart for his age who just wants an easy life. Baldani, an egotistical priest chasing achievements at any price. Ozki, a man desperately looking for hope in a world without salvation. Yolenta, Schmidt, Albert, Draka, Hubert. Orb is one of the best cast of characters I've seen in anime. You'll be following the story of one character and you'll think, this is him. This is my guy. You'll get invested in his story, get intrigued on their life perspective, start believing the same things they do, cheer for them to come out on top, and that's when the story will switch perspectives to some random ass character and you're like, who is this man?
Yeah, so basically like the bad guy is an armed philosopher. That's just like,
who does this fraud think he is? This is not my guy. Then, through one single conversation, you'll perch up and think, hold on, let's hear what he has to say. You'll get invested in their story, get intrigued on their perspective of life, start believing the same things they do, cheer for them to come out on. This happens like 4 or more times. There is no protagonist here, only people working towards a common goal of the pursuit of truth no matter what the obstacles are. Each of different ages, ideals, goals, and beliefs with a personal philosophy shaped by their own life experiences, and all somehow as interesting as each other. It is bloody impossible to choose a favorite character here. Every single person introduced has their own reason for being a part of all this, some of them with completely opposing philosophies, and the series constantly lets them go at each other. One character will make a point and you'll be like,
Damn, okay, maybe this guy's got a point.
Then another character will retort, being like,
ちょっと待って。自然を崇拝すること自体が一つの解釈なんじゃ。
okay, wait, let him cook. Dialogue is one of the most amazing things this show does. Listen to this. The thing you oppose isn't me, nor is it heretics. It's part imagination and part curiosity. In short, it's truth itself. It spreads like an epidemic. Not even the host can control it. It's not the sort of harmless thing that can be tamed by an organization. Now, how hard does this quote go? And yet, it is one of just countless uttered by every single character you meet that can make enough inspirational plaques to fill up a Midwestern mum's bathroom. A wrong answer isn't a meaningless one. Heliocentrism is my faith. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? Actually, I think that's a quote from Spy Kids too. This anime is a non-stop battleground of ideas, and the chosen weapon is spoken word. It is a dense series. Incredibly dense. Dense in character, dense in ideas, denser than the Earth itself, denser than a neutron star. Not as dense as your mum. Yet somehow, it feels like there's never any fat to it. Every scene, every conversation serves a purpose. Even if it's not directly moving the plot along, the characters themselves never stand still. Metaphorically speaking, there's a lot of standing around in this anime. And yeah, for an anime that initially seems to be about sticking it to the church, yeah, science, bitch, pursuit of truth. Not once does it ever feel like it's preaching to you. It would have been so easy to try and preach a message, yet through its characters, it presents a point of view from both sides and allows you to come to your own conclusion, even if...
And I think it also presents like a historical point of view, because like I haven't watched the anime, okay? Well, like, this actually existed. Erotism was actually, like, people burned on pyres because they were, like, insulting the church and committing blasphemy. So basically, like, spreading a truth that was not considered as truth by the church. So it is still historical and it's still realistic, and it was, like the fact that like it's historically real and that like people suffered from that, it makes it fascinating. And because of how free we are now of this this type of social these social rules and these type of laws.
If it's not necessarily the same ones the characters come to, because with each passing conversation, you can slowly see the impact each character makes on each other's ideology. Little by little, they change each other. One person will completely stand for one thing, and then 5 episodes later, through interacting with the people around them, you see the character make a major decision that seemingly goes against everything they initially stood for. These aren't just well-established 3-dimensional characters. This is an absolute masterpiece of character-driven storytelling. Characters will talk, affect each other, shoulder the words of the people they meet, and change. Not necessarily for the better, not necessarily for the worse, but what's necessary for them. People will die without achieving their dreams, their ambitions left unfulfilled, yet not once do you feel like anyone left this story not finding what they were truly looking for. And it's fucking beautiful. I really cannot put into words how awe-inspiring the writing is here. Isaac Newton is one of the greatest scientists in history. This is a man who discovered the laws of motion, the laws of gravity, fundamental laws we still use today hundreds of years later. Then, as a side project to study the movements of the moon, accidentally invents an entire branch of mathematics you might recognize called calculus. All before the age of 26. And yet, he had the audacity to say, "If I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants." This series embodies the spirit of that quote to its core. There are few shows that can so wonderfully showcase the true depth of the human spirit as Orb. Without power levels, without any screaming men pushing past their limits, it shows that progress is a collaborative effort achieved through the sharing of ideas and perspective, right and wrong. It is not a single person, it is people that write the course of history. People that have found a belief they will stand for against all odds. Barriers be damned, a belief shaped by listening to the people around them. Remember these two? Well, their conversation ends like this.
あなたが正しいとは全く思わない。
そのままお返しさせていただく。
Here are two people that can find no middle grounds, and yet by simply acknowledging each other's viewpoint, can still come to understand, affect, and eventually even trust in each other, and goddamn, is that not the kind of hope we need? The series puts every single one of these characters in a place where their truth is challenged, and asks, what is the right way to act when it happens? Cause the longer the series goes on, the more you realize it was never about proving heliocentrism was true, but that belief, blind belief, is one of the most dangerous mindsets you can have, no matter what that belief is. And that, I think, is one of the most important messages we all need to hear. In a time when it feels like the world could never be more divided, when nobody can seemingly agree on anything, this series shook me to my core. If Vinland Saga taught you that you have no enemies, Orb tells you it's okay to also just listen to them. It shows that true strength comes not from those who are always right, but from those who can concede when they are wrong. It's a reminder that you don't always have to agree, but that doesn't mean you cannot understand and empathize, because you are a part of something bigger. The world is so much larger than the little bubble you make for yourself, and with or without you, will continue moving. So, if that's the case, you should never forget to continue moving forwards with it. Orb is a series about moving the earth, and that includes all of us.
Wow, what a great way to conclude.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month to Author Curtis Eckstein, Basil, Dysfunctional Degenerate, Flabberwocky, Jonathan, Mike808, Misaka12315, Payne Patchett, Pony Stark, Shouting Zombie, Tubazo1989, Watergeist VT, and everyone else on my Patreon for helping support me for this month and making this video possible. You know, I didn't plan on making a video about Orb originally. I thought I would just wait for it to go on my end of year best of anime video, but after watching it, I think an anime like this comes along only once in a blue moon, so please go and watch it. It is a fucking amazing experience. Anyway though, I don't really have any more updates today, so I'm just going to keep it short and sweet today. I've been Giguk, and I'll see you all next time.
Damn. Yeah, if you're not subscribed, leave a like, and yeah, like this is this good. This man is this good. He never fails. This man never fails. Like and yeah. So the anime name is actually, what's the name? I actually forgot the name. Well, what's the name of the fucking anime? Well, Orb, right? Yeah, interesting concept. Like, I'm quite happy with this discovery. Will I watch it? Probably not, to be honest. Like, but is it worth watching? Probably. Like, it must be something special. Not special to me, sadly. Let me just, okay. So,
Classic WoW.
okay. Let me get to all right. I've had last one, last fucking video that I wanted to react. A last one, maybe a couple more. I'll see. Let's check this out. So why Bible's angel are actually creepy. Angels are actually in the Bible are described as such metaphysical things, and such like basically like just forms of power. Like it is interesting that within like the pop culture, as much as like we are like we live in a society that is like based on Christianism, basically like well, did you notice like many churches? There are like many churches. A lot of people still believe in Jesus Christ and in God and angels. It is actually fascinating that like the pop culture do not represent them much. Like I can think like of Supernatural. That is it, pretty much. Like there are like a couple more, but it's not like video games. Video games do more, but even then. So yeah. But the ones in the Bible like are actually fucking like terrifying. So let's discover why. Like I know some reasons, but yeah. Let's check this out.
Angels. Even if you haven't touched the Bible, you probably have an idea on what they look like. They're those elegant, heavenly beings with long white robes, swan-like wings, and perhaps a halo on top for good measure. We also know what angel babies or cherubs look like. Those small, chubby, cute infants clasping a bow and arrow. The kind of thing you might see on a Valentine's Day card. Except, well, that's not what angels actually look like. Not according to the Bible. These are biblically accurate angels.
Yeah, so purely metaphysical and just completely freaking the fuck out. Like they're also like described of like as like really like fuck you beings, like type of like beings that like if you see one like you'll never be the same, but times 1,000 times 1,000, like something like that. Like pretty sure mistranslation. Let's hope mistranslation because like quite scary to think, you know.
These horrifying abominations are more suited to an H.P. Lovecraft novel, not really the Bible. So what are these?
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, this is like more like H.P. Lovecraft than something else, and you see people believing, never mentioning it. Like, can you believe that like there's like so many people like that are Christians that do not fucking like take in account of what the fuck an angel actually is described as. But this is all like mythological. They're all also like angels that are like described normally, but it's just it's just funny. It's just funny that like they're more Lovecraftian or like there's another term, like there's more. They are more like cosmic horrors than like the classic angel that like you'll see.
These things. Why do they look this way? And how have we got angels so wrong? Okay, so angels come from the Old Testament, the first half of the Bible for Christians, or the whole Bible, known as the Tanakh, for Jews. The Old Testament was written down in modern-day Israel and Palestine from about the 6th century BCE to the 3rd century BCE. Although many scholars believe the biblical stories themselves are much older, we get the word angel from the Greek angelos, originally from the Hebrew word malach, which roughly translates to messenger. These messengers appear in the Old Testament a number of times. They carry God's messages from heaven and earth and sometimes act on his behalf. For example, you might recognize the angel of death in the Passover story that slaughtered all the first sons of the Egyptians. Or perhaps the angel that struck 70,000 Israelites to death and the angel that single-handedly killed 185,000 Assyrian soldiers in one night. When they appear in the Bible, they aren't described as having wings. In fact, they look like any ordinary person. In the later biblical texts, such as Daniel, some even get names: Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael. Okay.
Yeah, right. So this is kind of like where I actually like I'm actually kind of curious because like this is true, and but I discovered then like the accurate representation. So yeah,
This all sounds familiar, but they're not quite the nightmare material freak abominations we saw before. The angels, known as malach, are not the only heavenly beings in the Bible.
oh yeah. Now I remember. It's actually because like there are different rings, like there are like rings of angels within the Bible, and it is like there are like archangels, angels, like Nephilims, like basically like the cosmic horror like are Nephilims. Uh, Nephilim, yeah. Basically, like.
There's a hierarchy of them, and depending on who you ask, your classic humanoid angels are actually pretty far down the ladder. In the Middle Ages, a Jewish scholar known as Maimonides drew up a hierarchy of angels, and if you look here,
Yeah, seraphim, like Ophanim, Malak, Cherubim, like yeah. So no, it's not Nephilim. It's actually so the cosmic horror looking angels are actually seraphim. The seraphim.
your classic humanoid angels, the malach, are pretty low down. But not quite as low as cherubim. Forget those chubby winged angels. According to the Bible, cherubim are animal-human hybrids. The first time we see them is in the book of Genesis, right after Adam and Eve have been kicked out the garden. Their job is to guard the Garden of Eden from mankind. Our best description of a cherubim comes from the book of Ezekiel. It opens with the prophet experiencing a profound vision. In his vision, Ezekiel describes them as living creatures, but they're later revealed in chapter 10 as cherubim. His account is as follows. In the middle of it was something like 4 living creatures. This was their appearance. They were of human form. Each had 4 faces, and each of them had 4 wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings, on their 4 sides, they had human hands, and the 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings touched one another. Each of them moved straight ahead, without turning as they moved. As for the appearance of their faces, the 4 had the face of a human being, the face of a lion on their right side, the face of an ox on their left side, and the face of an eagle. Such were their faces. Their wings were spread out above. Each creature had 2 wings, each of which touched the wing of another, while 2 covered their bodies. Each moved straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, they went, without turning as they went. In the middle of the living creatures, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire, like torches moving to and fro among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and lightning issued from the fire. The living creatures darted to and fro, like a flash of lightning. The cherubim don't look like your average angel. Instead, they look more like the mythical beasts in ancient Mesopotamia, especially the Babylonian Iyamasu, which is the wings of an eagle, the body of a lion, and the head of a king. These would act as guardians to sacred places like temples, or the palace or city walls, and performed a similar role to the biblical cherubim. They look similar to their Egyptian cousin, the Sphinx, or the Hittite griffin. Many believe that these biblical angels were descendants of these mythological creatures from Mesopotamia. There would have been a lot of cultural exchange, and the same sorts of mythical creatures would crop up across these regions. Cherubim in later Christianity may have been imported from Greek and Roman myths, borrowing from the shapes of Cupid or Pluto. Moving up the list, we get these guys, seraphim. They have 6 wings, 2 used for flying, and the other pair for covering the angel's face, and the third pair for covering the angel's feet. They're described in the book of Isaiah as follows. Seraphs were in attendance above him. Each had 6 wings, with 2 they covered their faces, and with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they flew. And one called the other and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, and the whole earth is full of his glory. In medieval Christian theology, seraphim is the highest choir of the angelic hierarchy. They are the caretakers of God's throne, again continuously singing Holy, 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 all day, every day. So seraphim, their name comes from the word seraph, to burn. So seraphim may mean something like the burning ones. Okay, well where do they come from? going further into Seraphim's name reveals its origins. The Hebrew word for a venomous serpent of the desert is saraph. In ancient Egypt, the cobra was often referred to as the Flaming One, an image of which, called a uraeus, was worn by the pharaoh. Thus, saraph may be the Hebrew term for cobra, and perhaps where our seraphim get their winged appearance from. Now again to the strangest beings in the Bible, the Ophanim, or simply known as the wheels. They're a pair of interlocking gold wheels with eyes around the outside, and they hover and float in the sky. In the same vision as before, Ezekiel describes them alongside the cherubim. Quote, "As I looked to the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the earth beside the living creatures, one for each of the four of them. As for the appearance of the wheels and their construction, their appearance was like the gleaming of beryl, and the four had the same form, their construction being something like a wheel within a wheel. When they moved in any of the four directions without veering as they moved. Their rims were tall and awesome, for the rims of all four were full of eyes all around. When the living creatures moved, the wheels moved beside them. And when the living creatures rose from the earth, the wheels rose. Wherever the spirit would go, they went, and the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. The wheels are beings who are meant to carry God's throne, making them some of the holiest and certainly the strangest beings in the Bible. Where do these wheels come from? Well, no one really knows this one. Conspiracy theorists believe that Ezekiel is describing UFO due to its strange shape and movement. Or, perhaps, seeing that this all takes place in a trippy vision, it could be the product of the prophet ingesting a psychedelic plant. More grounded scholars interpret the wheels metaphorically, a stand-in for God's unknowability, or some other, often quite elaborate interpretation.
Yeah, so representation of pure power, just symbols of power, like through energy. So basically, like similar, like to how, like I don't know, you will represent like a symbol using like a blue flame, right? But you do it metaphysically using like a moving statue, right?
But ultimately, no one really knows much more about the wheels. They're never mentioned anywhere else. There is some confusion about whether these eldritch abominations, known as cherubim, seraphim, or
Yeah, Lovecraftian and eldritch abomination, like cosmic horrors overall. Like he didn't mention that, like this is like cosmic horror level of have a like a try to keep try to stay I try to have a good day after thinking about it a little too much.
or Ophanim are really actually angels. Perhaps heavenly being is a better description of them. Whatever it may be, the Bible's view of heaven is not the exclusive domain of these beautiful winged humanoids. If heaven is in fact real, you'll likely be spending a literal eternity alongside these winged monstrosities instead. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of this video. I enjoyed this one about angels and their creepy origins. If you want more, like, comment, but most of all subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, so if you're into, well, like, I don't know what this guy does, but like if you're into, is this like religion or, this is actually interesting, like he does like historical representations. Like if you're into this stuff, like subscribe, and yeah, like this was interesting. I kind of like knew some of the stories, but yeah, it's you won't believe that like there are like basically cosmic horrors in the Bible. Well, if you search deep enough, like there are like these beings that are just like, okay, well, thank you so much, no thank you. I'd rather forget about it. Okay. So, what do I have? Let me check if I have.
Hey everybody, Chromatic here.
Let me just check. Okay, so I want to react to something more. Like this won't be a YouTube video, but like, so. Okay, so let's react to World of Warcraft's Student Art Contest 2024 winners. So, just so you know, like these contests are actually really important for graphic artists and basically people in the industry that actually will become the game designers and the world builders of your favorite game in the future, right? This is what you add to your portfolio. This is like what prestige is like when it comes to art, and even veterans actually get and go to that. So I'm actually curious just to see. So presented by Blizzard Entertainment early careers. So yeah, here you go, early careers in World of Warcraft team development team. So basically, also like if you win the art contest, you get like a shot at working for Blizzard. Do you know like how difficult it is to work for Blizzard? Like basically working for Blizzard is the working for Microsoft, working for Ferrari, or working for working for Gibson type of like level of like prestige, right? So let's check this out. Presented by World of Warcraft, the 14th annual World of Warcraft Student Art Contest has drawn to a close after some fervent debate and passionate deliberation. Our judges sifted through the many remarkable entries and identified the winning entries. So this is also like might like become like an inspiration for the next expansion. So wow, so this is like, because like if the artist is taken, maybe like this will be like, but this is like there's less chance of that because like basically the whatever. Check out the winners and runner-ups for each of 4 categories. So environment art category. Bastion, so from Sarah Crystalia Johnson, college, like Bastion Merchant Club. Let's check this out from closer. Okay. So they get to visit that as well, I guess, right? Because like this is actually really interesting. Like there's like past expansion type of like vibe. So yeah, Bastion, the Bastion is like Shadowlands, right? So this is like Shadowlands type of vibe. Okay, this is interesting. What's the runner-up? From Daria Maltahova, Shrine of the Mother Dragon. So being so wow, I guess this is kind of like it doesn't look special, I guess, but within the art industry, like there's a little secret to be known is that like some if it's not like pure art, right? Something that does not look like too special, too unique, too like so something that like can actually be added to the existing environment of World of Warcraft is actually something that is really skillful and shows actual talent. Because if you show something that is really shiny and really like out of like that is really different from like the vibe, the mood, the art of the game, well, this does not work because it will not fit it on a game design, art design, art direction standpoint. So this is actually like, while I don't like see like well, it's because you don't see why it's so special. Maybe it's special to you, I don't know, but like this is why I think that like they're winners. Whereas like you could, because technically, so the art exercise to actually to actually like explain to you what I'm talking about is this could, you can tell yourself easily, yeah, this could be a zone that like could be like added to World of Warcraft, no problem. And so basically, if you can do that, well, this is already like really skillful. And for both, actually it actually functions, it actually works, it's actually successful. So yeah, interesting. Next on, character art category. The Crimson Red Dodger. So this one has the vibe kinda of this takes a lot of work. I don't know what type of work, but I'm guessing that like this is already a character that you could add to the game. I feel like this is not like exactly the style of like this would I wouldn't see this character ever in the game. A character looking like this, but I understand. Like this reminds me. Like the eye like reminds me of Goma. So the name is Goma. Um like basically yeah, right. Kind of reminds me of that. Like with the eye. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. From Drew Mitchell, Crimson Dream Gorger. Okay, and the runner-up, Bargan from Ethan D. Ward. Okay, I vibe way less with this character. I could not see either of those. Like, is there like beautiful characters like to this one? Like, I guess like the complexity of it is also important, right? And the fact that like it can be added to the game easily. But I do not like vibe with either of those characters. Like they are really not like well, like I feel. But again, art is about interpretation, and it's about like it's an art contest as well, like basically. Okay, FX category. Chain winner. Amanda Yenan Wang. Chains of Annihilation. So this is like a skill. Okay. Oh damn. So this is like a okay, this is actually cool. There's no sound to it, dude. There's no sound to it. I'm pretty sure like maybe there will be sound. Like this could be like I don't know, a mage spell, maybe not a mage spell because like they don't do it in the purple department, but like a warlock spell, a warlock spell. This is cool. This is really cool. And the runner-up, Chains of Regret. So Chain of Annihilation, Chain of Regret. Okay, so there was like probably some base that you some like some rules that you have to follow, some theme to it. Okay, this one is I dislike it way more, and I dislike the fact that like the artist didn't do the effort of actually like taking a character, like using a character to describe the spell. Like maybe it's skillful. I will. Yeah, I mean it is right, and like I don't know the particles. Like this I could see it in WoW, you know, but. But this one, not at all. Maybe in another game, but like not at all. It kind of feels like I don't know if like you have to base it like basically like this like it's World of Warcraft that does it, right? World of Warcraft student contest, so it's supposed to be based on World of Warcraft, but again, like these are the winners and the runner-up. So this I understand. This one I do not. Animation category. This is cool. This is cool. This is actually cool. I'm actually curious, like, if they can Abyss and Moth two-hit combo attack from just and and good. Like, this is if they, I'm curious if they can use like basically assets from the game or not. I'm guessing not, but like this looks like really like this is close to game assets. And the runner-up, Foxy 2-hit combo, Savannah Forte. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Like, but again, like I don't, I kind of like, yeah, like, so it doesn't have to fit WoW. So if it's too far away from WoW, like I was saying, like if it's too far away, like if it's not something that I will see in the game, I just kind of like for a contest about the game, like I don't vibe with it. Like but again, these are the winners and runner-ups. So winners from each category will participate in a 1-hour virtual mentorship with a senior Blazor artist and more. Visit our contest announcement for more. Yeah, let's check the comments. Like, I'm actually curious. 16 comments. It's feels like small indie company, you know. So yeah, they did all a great job. I think Foxy 2 combo was the best. We'll see this animation for Warrior in game. Is it judged all of 2020 24 as arts? Yeah. Well, basically, I do not know. Like, I know that like it's a lot of work and like they're amazing. Like, but at the same time, no clue at all. Like, oh, what the fuck? But, uh, yeah, for me, like my favorite was actually the environment. Like, they're really like just because it feels familiar and the chain like this animation. It feels like it's in the middle of like it's in between Diablo and WoW. So this is actually really cool. This is actually really cool. Okay. So yeah. this was like the World of Warcraft Student Art Contest 2024 winners. This is actually interesting. I will probably backtrack on that, like, and go back to so this is the 14th annual World of Warcraft Student Art Contest. So I'm actually curious to see like how it actually like how it what were the other winners and how like through technology and time like and like it changed, and also the level of like the winners, because like yeah, just curious about the stuff. Anyway, okay, so um this is it for the day. I am actually exhausted. I still have like a lot of like concentration duty to do. Did my mic actually fucking died? If my mic fucking died, I need to check out this. Okay, I do not, okay, I do not have like did not lose footage today. So yeah. I will see you later, and yeah, as always, be toxic. See ya.